Movie Time is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. For the details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.com.
The award-winning It's Movie Time is brought to you by John DeSando. Listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Hope Madden.
And this is It's Movie Time. Hope.
Yes.
How about Dorian Gray, Curious Case of Benjamin Button? Anything currently that reminds you of?
Every vampire movie. And also The Age of Adaline.
All right. And who does this star? My goodness.
Blake Lively.
Yeah, all
the
right.
lovely Blake Lively.
Oh, yeah. Now, she is visually lovely.
Yeah, she's a lovely girl.
I don't think she's a terrific actress, but she's very good at underplaying. Now, all right, so help us out. The Age of Adaline. Here I made some references to people who never age, is that correct? Or age backward?
Or, well, in this case, never age.
Right.
She's in some, metaphysical, cosmic, astronomical phenomenon, and she stops aging at 29.
All right.
And 70 years later, she falls in love. And it's a high-class Nicholas Sparks movie.
It is. It has so much sparks in it. I think I opened my review with egads. I think I'm going to say I like this movie, and it's got so much Nicholas Sparks hovering around it, meaning it has a good measure of sap.
Oh, my yes. Oh, my yes. And then, they can't be together. I'm sorry, wait, why? Why can't they be together? Well, you think she's going to be alone for 70 years? Have you seen her? I doubt it.
She has to keep escaping because, of course, the people she loves are going to die and she's going to be the same age.
You know what? That would have been a better, I think, subplot. But the whole early on, the CIA during the McCarthy witch hunt, they show up to just do experiments on her, and then she sneaks out the back of the car,
and apparently they never look for her again.
And what else is that? And then she goes back to her apartment and packs up. They didn't know to go there?
I know.
How long did they wait thinking she was still in the car?
Now, Hope, as a horror fan aficionado, there's a whole lot of acceptance you have to make for the logical flaws in any movie.
There's a lot of required suspension of disbelief in any romance film, just as there is no horror movie. But I have to say, at one point, a former suitor, now an old man, realizes, like, oh, this is the same girl that I loved back in 1960, and my first thought was, she's a vampire. Like, that's exactly what I expected him to think, because in every vampire movies, they all figure it out. Oh my God, you're a vampire, they all know. And I thought, but you just think she's still pretty, or?
Well, and that reminds me, for some strange reason, I really liked Harrison Ford as the young man's father. I mean, at least if you look at all the roles that Ford has had.
No, I think he does do a nice job. And Kathy Baker plays his wife, and she's always good.
Yes, right.
And they have a very realistic. They all gather for their 40th wedding anniversary party weekend, and the two of them have a very realistic lived-in marriage, and they're both just they're both very solid. And the other one who's great in this is Ellen Burstyn.
Oh.
And for me, I remember I really tried to give the film a pass. I tried to just be open-minded, and I thought to myself, Blake Lively does a nice job of behaving like someone who has been around for that long. She has old-fashioned ways about her manners. She's got this great posture. Of course, she's got this great wardrobe. I mean, they deck her out. She looks good. And then the first scene with Ellen Burstyn, I'm like, no, she can't act. It's so hard when someone so good is in a scene with you. You're like, no, this is posing. That is acting.
Another one of those maybe subplots that's never worked enough is the relationship between mother and daughter.
No.
And Burstyn plays the daughter. Now, here is a truly unusual setup. Daughter looks like grandmother.
Is pretending to be the grandmother, right?
Pretending to be and Burstyn, of course, carries it off with such class.
Yes.
That she's one of the only persons that knows that her mother doesn't age.
Right.
And so, for me, Hope, look it. I'm not a guy who cries. But if I were a guy who cries, I think I would have cried at some of the points here. All right? And I know that's induced by Nicholas Sparks' sentimentality.
Yeah.
I know that. But the idea of trying to find love is so interesting to me that when I see characters on the screen having difficulty and trying to work through it, I'm really sympathetic. So I'm going with her, and at the same time, I'm trying not to put any logic onto this business and just try to enjoy the film. And I thought some of the cinematography was pretty cool.
It's a pretty movie.
Yeah.
It is. It's a pretty movie.
you're tough. But if you like science fiction, or let's say this, if you're an old timer like me, if you like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I can give you that. It's got a nice Twilight Zone way about it, without the creepy menace, which I would have liked. And actually, one of the things that kind of irritated me, there's a voiceover narration, which in 99% of all films is just lazy writing.
It is lazy storytelling.
And
it is.
And the one time that I think it works really, really well is Little Children, the film Little Children, because it's almost the voice of like an anthropologist, just sort of dissecting what you're seeing, and it's very fascinating. And I think that's the approach, or the Twilight Zone approach, that this one tried to take. And I still don't think it worked. It still came off to me as lazy storytelling.
I think I was at times annoyed by Michel Huisman.
Yeah, I would have no idea how to pronounce that, so good for you.
He's from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And he's a cutie pie with all the facial hair, the dark flowing facial hair and so on. And he is spouting lines, ladies and gentlemen, that you would want to shoot the guy on the spot. Say, stop being so cute. Stop being so tritely romantic.
Oh yeah.
But
that's the core problem with these kind of romantic films, is that nothing about it looks anything like something natural. Wow, I just have to tell you right now, I'm madly in love with you. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, that's only ever happened in another movie like this. Like, that is just so...
Hope you hit on one of my core complaints is, I know she's beautiful, okay? Very attractive woman. Kind of low-key. How does this guy fall in love with her so fast? When, in fact, he's a pretty smart, philanthropical guy.
Super, super rich, apparently. Although that Trivial Pursuit game, that was actually my one fun, the one fun scene.
Oh, it was great.
Is that she's being challenged in Trivial Pursuit, and her new boyfriend was like, oh, girls, they could never answer a boxing question, so then she's just like, bring it. And she answers every single question, and she just annihilates them.
Dad is the reigning...
Yeah, it's 45, right. 45 games in a row.
Right, and he's an astronomer.
Right.
Who has taught at, I don't know, Berkeley or somewhere. I know one of the daughters went to Berkeley, but he's a pretty savvy guy,
right.
And very good at this, and she just kills everybody. And I love the fact that she does.
Yeah, I do too.
There's just a bit of hesitancy, and then she goes ahead, she said, okay, and she comes in. Which reminds me, when she does not answer how many stars in our galaxy, she guesses 500 million when he asks her, and he said there's something like 100 billion.
Yeah.
Was she faking that?
I don't know. I wondered the same thing.
Yeah.
But I was also really like Han Solo talking about the galaxy.
I know. And look, here's what I thought. I thought that in occurrences in history, she was flawless.
Right, that could
Not
be.
Not necessarily science.
Because she'd lived through it and remembered
right,
it,
because
I
she
guess.
lived through
right.
it and she...
That could be. I also thought the guy they got to play the young Harrison Ford was kind of a funny caricature of young Harrison Ford.
Did they clone Ford?
I know.
They even got him to...
talk out of one side of his mouth. Yes. It was funny. It was fun.
I mean, you see this kid and you say, wow, they must have had tryouts and they must have had 1,000 guys.
Right. Deliver this line like you're Han Solo. Do it right now.
But it is cute with the little MG and the meeting cute.
Mm-hmm.
It defines it. Well, Hope, we're having way too much fun. And I'm gonna ask you gently to award a grade to...
C minus. Don't
right.
go to see this. Don't.
The film is... She can't wait to get that out. The film is The Age of Adaline, and it stars Blake Lively. And once again, your grade?
C minus.
C minus. And my grade is B minus only because it takes an awful lot for me almost to be driven to tears. To give you an idea.
It was a dog, wasn't it?
That's right, it was the dog. Look, we're waiting for the big blockbusters of the summer, gang. So if you want something, I mean, I know Hope, it's just this film. And I'm going to tell you that if you have a sentimental strain to you, if you kind of like the Twilight Zone, you won't do badly to go to, and it's visually very, very, it's eye candy.
It's very pretty.
Wonderful.